Mom.
What?
Have you started it?
Yes,
Oh.
Joey.
Okay, let's start the episode now. Oh.
Yeah, I
wait.
guess we're starting now, huh?
Okay, look, it's the episode.
Yeah. Well, anyway, since Alex got us started, good morning to you,
Yeah.
and welcome to episode 30.
Like, you know, the 0.
Alex.
30. I said it back.
Can you believe that we're at episode
30?
30.
30.
30.
Like 3 and 0. That's a lot of episodes.
I mean, it literally seems like I just recorded the very first episode just a few days ago.
In the same room.
In this very room where it all started. But anyway, it seems like it was just a few days ago when I first recorded.
Yeah.
But actually, it's been 7 months since the first episode.
Yeah, well, it's not. It's been 2 days.
There's something wrong. But anyway, if y'all just keep listening to us, we're just going to keep putting out stupid stuff.
Yeah.
So we appreciate all the downloads.
Yes.
Because we're whizzing on through the 6,000s.
Yes.
How was y'all's weekend?
Weekend.
Alex said I had no weekend. He's welcome to the working world of
Work.
amazing human beings, adult human beings.
I get paid Tuesday.
Look how fast the weekend flies by.
I'll miss it.
I'll miss you on Monday. Now, personally, I didn't do a whole lot over the weekend because we got like the West Coast fire smoke here. Yeah, we're on the East Coast, and it's crazy because I saw on the news that it was like a front or a jet stream or something. I know it was weather related. Anyway, it brought the smoke in from the West Coast all the way over here on the East Coast. And my asthma has already been bad enough this month, so I'm like, nah, I'm just going to stay inside and not be breathing that wretched smoky air. Plus, it's like 96 degrees outside right now, too. But, you know, the thing is these weather systems and stuff, it can bring, like, smoke. And even, like, this coming week, I think it is, there's dust from the Sahara Desert coming this way from Africa. But yet, they can't ever, like, bring us any snow from the north.
I want snow.
I want snow so
I
bad.
want snow.
Maybe this will be the year of the snow.
Additional.
And, you know, I was thinking, Alex, since you're out of high school, and, you know, you won't... It's like snow days won't matter so much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now we'll get a lot of snow days. So, yeah. But anyway, today's episode's not about snow or weather or those fires. I somehow got laid down that rabbit hole by my own scattered little brain. Now, it's been a while since we talked about anything paranormal or even remotely close to it. So today, that's what we're going to be talking about.
Wow.
As if you didn't know.
I didn't
Now,
know.
did you know that South Carolina has a ton of haunted hotels?
No, I did not know.
Well,
Tell me more.
I'm going to tell you more.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're basically talking about rooms with a boo.
Boo.
Like rooms with a view. See what I did there?
Get it?
Get it?
Get it?
Oh my God.
You
God.
get it?
Mom's so funny.
Get. Continue.
Well,
I didn't know the intro was playing.
he starts talking through the intro.
No, I didn't get a
And then
cue.
somebody sneezing in the living room.
I didn't get a cue.
Oh, sorry about that, boo. Well.
This is a good
Here we
episode.
are. So, it's no secret that Charleston is one of our state's oldest and most haunted cities. So, it definitely makes sense that it has so many haunted hotels, right?
Yeah.
And that's where we're starting our tour of haunted hotels.
Wow.
Now, when it comes to the design of the building, the Embassy Suites is one of the most interesting as far as hotels. But it wasn't originally designed to be a hotel. It was originally the South Carolina State Arsenal, and it was also the original Citadel building too, like for the school, the military college there. And it's also a designated Civil War memorial.
Oh.
Now, the building is complete with gun ports, and overall the building looks like a fortress.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah, it's really neat looking. It don't look like any hotel I've ever seen. But now, so what kind of ghost do you think they have there? I mean, it's a military outpost, or it used to be.
They have the fancy little helmets on.
They have military ghosts.
Spooky ghosts.
Says military spooks. Yeah. Now, the top floor, back when it was the Arsenal, it used to be the officers' quarters, back in the day. And this is where most of the hauntings take place or are witnessed. Now, guests have seen cadets and officers in their suites and in the hallways. Now, the most famous apparition spotted there has been dubbed Halfhead, and they say he's completely harmless. He seems to fancy the rooms of female guests and is often sighted standing around the foot of these girls or women's beds. I don't know, maybe he was quite the ladies' man back in the day. Now, so Alex, take a guess as to why he was named Halfhead.
He does have a head.
Well, yeah, but okay. God, he's so interesting, huh? Well, it seems that his scalp is pulled back from his scalp. I can't
Scalpula.
His scalp was pulled back from his eyebrows, and the top of his head is totally missing.
Yo.
Now, they say he was the victim of an unfortunate cannonball accident. I'd say that's pretty unfortunate.
That is unfortunate.
You poor unfortunate souls. But anyway, the room that he seems to like the most is M113. And now the only time they use that room is if the whole hotel is completely booked, and they have no choice but to use that room. Alex is tearing up his microphone. But anyway, so they don't use that room all the time. Now, I read a review on TripAdvisor. It was by a guest that had stayed there at that hotel, and they said it's definitely haunted, but they didn't know that before they booked that room. The first night there, they were awakened by the sound of something hitting a lampshade by their bed, and the next morning they witnessed a hairbrush falling to the floor from where it sat, and no one was near it. The last morning they were there, they were awakened by a loud thump. Now, maybe old Halfhead had picked up the hairbrush, and then he dropped it when he realized he didn't need it. I mean, yeah, it could happen. You don't know. But anyway, if you want to check out the Embassy Suites in Charleston, it's located on Meaton Street, and that's in the heart of downtown, so it's pretty easy to find. Now, the next one that is very haunted in Charleston is the Francis Marion Hotel, and the ghost story from it is one that is very romantic.
Ew.
Now, the story goes that there were two star-crossed lovers who had fallen in love. The man in our story, his name was Ned, and he was from up north, and Ned had fallen in love with a Southern belle. Well, this was just after the Civil War, and during those times, dating somebody from the north was frowned upon. I guess there was still hard feelings and stuff from losing the war.
Yeah.
I mean, it's silly to think about it like that, but that's just my opinion, but I digress. Now, they had met in New York when she was there on vacation with some friends. when her vacation was over, Ned had to figure out a way to see her again. I mean, he was head over heels in love with this girl.
God.
So he asked his boss if he could get a sales assignment in Charleston. He worked for Florsheim Shoes, and the powers that be at that company knew that women in Charleston were quite fashionable. So, they were like, okay, go see if you can make some sales there. Well, him and the girl, and now the girl does not have a name anywhere that I could find, but they spent a weekend in one of the finest rooms at the Francis Marion. But in the end, it wasn't meant to be. The lady in her story gave in to family pressure, and in the middle of the night, she left a Dear John letter in his room at his hotel, or at the hotel they were staying in while he was asleep. And the only thing the letter said was, "I'm sorry. My family will never understand us. Goodbye." She didn't even sign it. She just said goodbye, and then she slipped away in the night. Well, the next morning, Ned wakes up, and he reads the letter that his true love had left for him. He's, like, totally devastated. And, he's like, I can't live without my Southern Belle. What am I going to do? So, he jumps to his death out the window of his hotel room. I mean, it was like right there on King Street, one of the busiest streets in Charleston. Of course, I'm sure there wasn't as much traffic back then. But anyway, I mean, he just, like, jumped out his window and killed himself. So now, guests that stay in that hotel report windows that won't stay shut. And sometimes they see the figure of a weeping man out in the hallway. And some have even felt a tender brush of a hand on their cheek while they're sleeping. Now, this hotel is located on King Street, like I said, but that's also right in the heart of Charleston. So it's easy to find, and it's close to everything like restaurants, bars, shopping, like good little shopping areas. So you're in a good area if you ever want to check it out. Now, they do say that if you see Ned, it's usually around midnight. So you should keep that in mind. Now, perhaps the most haunted hotel in Charleston, though, is the South Battery Carriage House. It's located right across the street from the Battery in Charleston. And if you don't know what the Battery is, it's a defensive seawall with these beautiful antebellum homes. The Rainbow Row of homes is right in that area, too. Mm-hmm. Now, the Battery was built in 1670. But anyway, let's talk about the South Battery Carriage House. Now, I haven't stayed there yet, but I do have plans to this fall. And we'll probably be doing like some live stuff from there, like on Twitter and TikTok and Facebook, just to see if we experience anything. Now, a lot of the hotel owners, around the world probably would deny that their hotel is haunted, but none of the owners of South Battery Carriage House. There's been so many reports of paranormal experiences there that the owners just decided to go with it, and they even talk about it on their website. Now, I love that they're so truthful about it. It's more like a bed and breakfast. It's not like one of the big chain hotels. Mm-hmm. It's just this little quaint inn. But there's 3 rooms there in particular that are the most haunted of all the rooms that's there. The first room is room 3. And a couple was staying there one night, or several nights. And the first night they went to bed, they were like really tired. They fell asleep, but soon they were awoken by the husband's cell phone. Well, I mean, that don't sound so unusual, right? I mean, phones ring, but the phone wasn't ringing. It was making this loud, obnoxious noise that a phone doesn't usually make. And get this, he had turned the phone off before they went to sleep. I know. So, also that first night that they stayed in the room, they witnessed an orb floating around the room. And then they spotted it again on the second night. Well, after that second night, the couple found a psychic and asked her to come check out the room. Well, when she gets there, she does feel the presence of like multiple spirits. So she asked them to leave, and apparently they left because the very next day the couple goes to her and tells her that they had slept really good. They didn't have any disturbances. So I guess, those spirits took the psychic's advice and just got the heck out of Dodge. And then there's room number 8, and it seems to be the room that has the most sinister presence in it. That's the one that I want to stay in.
Yeah.
If they let us pick a room. Now, they say that the spirit that hangs out in that room isn't one you really want to mess around with. Now, he's not one of the typical ghosts that you find here in the South. I mean, we usually have apparitions that are like Civil War soldiers or a lady in white or even maybe a little kid or something. This one is a floating, headless torso.
God.
Meaning no head, no legs. It's just his torso.
Nothing at all.
Nothing to see here, folks. No. But he's known to like wake people up in the middle of the night and send them running for their vehicles. This room has even turned skeptics into believers. One in particular booked that room back in 1993, and multiple people told him to switch rooms. Bad things happened in that room, they told him. But he was a skeptic to anything paranormal, so he just brushed it off. He even laughed at him. Now, he checks in, he goes to his room, and he soon goes to sleep. But he doesn't sleep for long. Suddenly, he's woke up by a disturbance in the room. Now, he was starting to believe all the people who had warned him. The headless torso was right there in the room with him. Well, the man decided to suck it up and try to touch the spirit. But he quickly pulled his hand back because the spirit growled at him like an animal.
Growled like an animal. Like an animal.
And yeah, Alex, like I said, this is the room we're going to stay in.
Nope. I say yet no. We're not doing that.
You're a big baby.
You're stupid.
Thank you, son.
You're welcome, mother.
And well, there's this room. We'll talk about this when we get off the air. But, yeah.
Oh,
anyway,
yeah.
there's room 10. So that's code for Alex is in trouble. But, there's another room. It's room 10.
My favorite room.
And the ghost that inhabits this room isn't scary at all. He's been even called a gentleman. And the spirit doesn't mind sharing the room with guests at all. He's described as a gray shadow, and he's average height and average weight. Which I don't know how you judge a ghost's weight, but that's what I read anyway.
How is that possible?
Yeah. Now, he moves around the room real gracefully. He doesn't bother anybody. Now, he has startled a few guests because he does like the bed in that room. And he surprised a few people by climbing into the bed with him. I don't know how I feel about that, you know.
I don't know how I feel about that either.
I mean, he means no harm. He just wants to lay down.
Just wants to rest.
I mean, if the bed's big enough, sure.
He wants to rest his little head.
Just join us. Go to sleep.
Go to sleep. No.
Now, some other folks say that they haven't, technically seen anything with their eyes, but they felt like they were being watched while they've been in that room. Now, even though the gentleman ghost isn't an evil one, a woman that stayed in the room said that she was so unnerved by just the thought of the room being haunted that she stayed up all night reading her Bible, and then eventually she drifted off to sleep. So, there's that.
There's that.
Well, there's plenty more haunted hotels in the Charleston area, but those are I want to say my 3 favorites.
Mm-hmm.
But there's, Charleston isn't the only place for haunted hotels. In Greenville, they have the Westin Poinsett. And this hotel was built in 1925, so, I mean, it's pretty old. It's going on 100 years old. And was built on the site that was formerly the Mansion House Hotel, which was at one time home to John C. Calhoun. And the hotel closed in 1987, but in 1997, it was bought by the people that owned the Francis Marion Hotel in Charleston. And after being heavily, they did a lot of renovations to it, they reopened it in October of 2000. Now, sorry, the allergies are still bad.
She is sick.
She has so many problems.
There's so much wrong.
Now, like those in the Charleston area, oh my God, I'm dying. Like those in the Charleston area, this historic hotel comes with its own ghostly guests. An elderly man is commonly seen popping in and out of the rooms at random, and he vanishes just about as quickly as he shows up. Another spirit has been seen staring out the window of a room on the 3rd floor, and just before this one disappears, he's seen removing a black coat. Now, the identity of these non-paying guests have never been made known, but at one time, the building was used as a nursing home or a retirement home, so they very well could be the spirits of residents that had lived there. But there's another theory about the identity of one of the apparitions, and it has nothing to do with a hotel, ghost, or nursing home. The year was 1885, and out on the street in front of the hotel, when it was still the Mansion House Hotel, 2 men are discussing politics. Well, you know, I guess even back then you needed to tread on eggshells, like when you're talking politics. Well, one man...
Oh my God.
One man was a man by the name of William Yancey.
Yancey. Yancey.
Oh, you're going to die, Alice. He previously had been a journalist for the Greenville Mountaineer and had came back into town to attend to some business. Well, during the discussion, Yancey made an offensive political slur, and things turned ugly. Ugly. Now, the other man involved in this was the uncle of Mr. Yancey's wife, and his name was Dr. Robinson Earl. Now, Earl confronted him about that political slur, and so Yancey pulls out a gun and shoots Earl in the street right in front of the Grand Hotel. Well, Yancey was arrested. He served only a year in prison. And it wasn't even a murder charge they gave him. I guess because it wasn't premeditated. But he served a year for manslaughter. So maybe it's Dr. Robinson Earl that is the man that's being seen removing his coat in that 3rd floor window. I mean, I suppose we'll probably never truly know, since no one from that time period is still around to tell us today. And the ghosts, they don't seem to be wanting to spill any tea about what happened. So, you know, we'll never know.
World.
But if you want to check it out, it's located at the corner of Main Street and East Court Street in downtown Greenville. And I just want to say that downtown Greenville has so much to do that it's like a really cool place to check out. There's like the Falls Park, and there's so many little shops and restaurants, and it's like the most dog friendly city I've ever seen, because like a lot of the restaurants there have this they have like the outdoor tables on the sidewalk, and they even have little food bowls and water bowls for your dog, so they can sit with you while you eat. Fancy. I think that's so sweet. Like, I want a dog just so I can take it there.
I want a dog because of that now.
I want a dog. Okay, I mean, I really do want a dog. But anyway, I mean, that's so cool.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
The only other place I've ever seen anything like that was in St. Petersburg, Florida. And there, man, everywhere you go in St. Petersburg, there's dogs. There's just like dogs everywhere. So, you know, it made the puppy fever really bad. But you can't mention haunted South Carolina hotels without talking about the Belmont Inn in Abbeville. It's located at 104 East Pickens Street, and it hasn't been too long since it's been restored to its former glory. It was built at the turn of the 20th century, and over the years, guests have reported strange events during the stay there. 2 ghosts in particular seem to be spotted regularly. One ghost, his name is Abraham, and he's spotted around the ground floor. The other ghost is unnamed, but he's a Scotsman, and he's commonly seen on the staircase. Now, these 2 apparently are tricksters, because their shenanigans include knocking on the guest doors in the middle of the night, rearranging objects in the hotel, knocking glasses off and breaking them, and other playful stuff like that, huh?
But they're pranksters, all right.
Telling you. Now, it kind of sounds like our little spirit that's here in the house, playing little jokes. But fortunately, she hasn't broken anything
Yet.
Yeah. She may have just took that as a challenge, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Now, the Belmont is located across the street from the Abbeville Opera House, and it has its own ghost story, maybe 2 of them. But that's I'll probably have to include that one day on a future episode. But as a matter of fact, the entire town of Abbeville is super haunted, and it's been called one of the most haunted towns in the southeast.
Oh.
No, not ever. In the southeast, though. So that's pretty cool. I didn't know that until
Ever in the
I was doing the
southeast.
research for this episode. But now we're going to switch it back to the coast.
The coast.
And we're going to stop by the Mansfield Plantation in Georgetown. Now, Georgetown itself is a really old city. It's like the 3rd oldest city in South Carolina. So, of course, there's got to be a lot of ghosts there. Well, there definitely is. And the one place that is pretty popular amongst the paranormal people is the Mansfield Plantation. And it was originally a plantation like the name implies. It was built as a rice plantation along the Black River around 1718. So it's super old. Over 300 years old, actually. Now it's a bed and breakfast, and there's some spooky tales that come from it.
Spooky breakfast. Spooky breakfast.
There was a group of paranormal investigators that stayed in the North Guest House and picked up a really interesting EVP while staying there. The voice is quoted to be saying, "Don't leave me." No one knows who this disembodied voice belongs to, but with it being such an old property, seeing so many lives and deaths of its residents, it's not hard to imagine that the place would be inhabited by a few spirits. I mean, it's over 300 years old, so there's got to be a lot of activity.
Yes.
I would think, anyway. Now, if you're interested in checking out that little gem, you can find it at 1776 Mansfield Road in Georgetown. Now, before we wrap up, there's one more that I want to talk about, and it's on Pawleys Island. It's called the Litchfield Plantation House. Now, Pawleys Island, if you're not familiar with it, it's located 25 miles south of Myrtle Beach and 70 miles north of Charleston. It's very beautiful. It's a quiet area to vacation in, like if you don't like the hustle and bustle of Myrtle Beach area. But now, there are some haunted areas, so it may not be that quiet in the spiritual sense. Now, like Mansfield Plantation in Georgetown, the Litchfield Plantation House was originally a rice plantation. Now it's a popular wedding venue and inn. The property was built in the early 1700s, and over the years, it was passed down through the generations of the families. Now, eventually, it belonged to a Dr. Henry Massenburg Tucker. Dr. Tucker was a Civil War volunteer and a dedicated doctor. He'd often make house calls to check on his sick patients in the middle of the night. When he'd return. But when he returned...
Here's it the second time.
Woo.
Okay, let's continue with the episode now.
When he'd return, though, he'd reach out with his riding crop to ring the bell so they could let him back in at the plantation gate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after he passed away, the ringing didn't stop. Many of his neighbors reported hearing the bell ringing long after he'd passed away, but the bell was eventually taken down. I guess it was starting to get on people's nerves. I don't know. Even though the bell is gone, Alex is still laughing at me. But even though the bell is gone, the ghost of this Dr. Tucker has been seen on the back staircase of the house because it was known that he would use the back stairs while he was, going in and out checking on his patients so that he wouldn't wake up his family while they were sleeping. Now, he's also been spotted in what was his former bedroom there in that house. Dr. Tucker is said to be a friendly ghost, so if you encounter him, just be polite and go on about your day. Now, if this is somewhere that you'd like to check out, you can find it at 1 Avenue of Live Oaks on Pawleys Island.
Palace Island.
Are you writing it down?
Yeah, I'm writing it down.
It's 1... Okay, since you're writing it down, it's
1
Avenue of Live Oaks on Pawleys Island.
Okay, I lost.
That's a lot of writing.
That's a lot of writing. From a noggin.
Now, that's not at all like an exclusive list of the only haunted hotels in South Carolina. But there is just like way too many of them to talk about in one episode. And I really had a hard time picking out like the ones that I did want to talk about today because there are so many of them. So we're probably going to come back and make a part 2 to this episode. So stay tuned and you can hear some more details about the different haunted hotels in South Carolina. But anyway, y'all have a great week. And don't forget to come back like on Wednesday for the midweek minis. Alex, is there anything you want to add at this point?
I'm tired. 30th episode.
Yeah, 30th
7
episode,
months.
y'all. 30th episode.
7 months of this.
I was not prepared for this like to get as big as it's getting.
Exactly.
Like it grows every week.
It's big and big and...
It's so exciting too.
Yeah.
I mean, we could be a household name. Like, you know, Andrea and Alex.
We could be famous.
Andrea said.
What?
Andrea said.
Oh.
Oh, Alex, he laughed at his mom. He called her stupid. I guess it's okay for me to do that too.
Roma.
But anyway, that's all we've got today. Y'all have a good week. Come back Wednesday and happy Monday. I didn't know what else to say.